would like to introduce John Sweeting, who will be presenting Safeguarding Registry Integrity, ARIN's approach to preventing fraud. John is the Chief Experience Officer at ARIN and traveled from Chantilly, Virginia to join us today. This is John's 10th time presenting at NANOG, right? His first talk was called Update on ARIN Advisory Council Activities at NANOG 59 in Phoenix, Arizona in the year 2013. You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, with that, we just want to welcome John on stage, and the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Les. All right, so this is, I'm John. This is kind of like a new presentation we haven't given before. Safeguarding Registry Integrity, ARIN's approach to preventing fraud. So we're going to run through these 7 items here. What our mission is. Hi, Tigger. Don't distract me. So to start off with our ARIN's commitment to the integrity of our registry. So if our data is not unique and accurate, like we really aren't needed, that's the main thing we provide, is that you guys look in who is, and you see who's supposed to be routing this IP address, whose AS number is this, and if we had that all messed up, we would be pretty useless. So that is core to our mission, and we spend a lot of time on data accuracy. So we do have a lot. You can imagine, anytime you have resources that over here you can get millions of dollars for them, but you can get them from over here for, you know, pretty cheap and just pay a small annual fee, and then you can turn around and sell them or lease them or all that and make a whole lot of money. It brings out the worst in some people. So we have a lot of people that are attempt to make up stories and get resources from us that they can use to make a lot of money. So we're proactively taking steps to address and prevent the misuse and the circumventing our policies that the community puts together and expects, you know, the expectation is that we're going to enforce these policies. So we do that. We put a lot of time and effort into it. So the big challenge, like I said, is the issued space versus the transfer market space. ARIN has another big problem with the fact that we have a lot of legacy space that was given out before there was really great records tracking the space. And a lot of that was, at the time, Class B space, which we now know we refer to as /16s. And a lot of that was given out, and they've never come into ARIN, they've never signed an agreement, they've never updated their information. And so there's a lot of people out there that are mining these /16s, because at one point they were worth about $3.5 million. I think that's gone down a little now, but it's still a big windfall. So these activities that target the registry, it's escalated quite a bit, including identity theft and hijacking. We get people, there was a time when you could just recover a POC by getting an email sent to you and saying, yep, that's me, and you recover it, and then you could go in and change the POC information. And a lot of times, a lot of people watched domain names, and when a domain name would go unregistered that had a lot of space connected to it, they would jump on that domain name, register on their server the email address for that POC, and then they would recover that POC, and then they take control of the resources and change. And once they got that, then they could change the address of the organization. The only thing they couldn't do was change the organization name, which is a good thing, because that helps us to prevent transfers from being done from organizations that they can't prove. But they can still lease that space as the POC that's controlling it, controlling the reverse DNS stuff. So let's move on. So the threats are the identity and entity fraud. So recently the big thing is the entity fraud. We get a lot of organizations from all over the world that go to certain addresses in Colorado, Wyoming, Arizona, Kentucky, Delaware, and they register a company through registered agents. The main reason for registering through a registered agent is to hide your identity so that nobody knows really who you are. And there's even a registeredagent.com that they hide their identity. So when we were attempting to validate the information of the owners of the company, we'd get referred to the registered agent, and the registered agent would give us a notarized affidavit saying that, yeah, this is the person but then we found out that the registered agent's name was not a real name. So we decided, well, we got to take some actions on that, and I'll get into that later. Again, the unauthorized reassignments or reallocations of IP number resources. We have a lot of people that want to do some nefarious activities on the internet. They reassign their address space to reputable ISPs, like the big ones like Verizon and AT&T and our big cable companies. And so that when people see those addresses and look up, oh, okay, this is an AT&T address, no problem. Well, there is a problem because they're not really AT&T addresses. But we're doing a lot to work to make sure that doesn't happen. But it's a whack-a-mole thing right now, but we're trying to automate some tools that will help us with that. And then, of course, there's the routing hijacks and the misinformation that's out there. You get a lot of third-party, it's getting better, but the fraudulent registrations in the third-party IRRs, and actually I can't just blame it on third parties because all of us, ARIN, RIPE, we all had IRRs that were not validated. Ours is now considered authenticated. You can't put objects in the ARIN IRR unless you are the direct resource holder, and the same thing with RIPE. I know the other third-party IRRs are trying to do better as well. Yeah, and then outer region customers that create org IDs in the attempt to expand, and that goes back to the registering a company, getting the space, and then using it out of region. So with all this going on, I used to try to track and fight all this on my own because I didn't really have any bodies to use to track all this stuff, but it got so overwhelming we decided to put together a team, and we call it the Registry Integrity and Oversight team. So it's the Riot team. They like to be referred to as RIO. I like to call them Riot, but anyway. And they were established to focus specifically on the addressing fraud, policy abuse, and integrity-related concerns. The team's comprised of 3 members. Reese Radcliffe is the manager, and they report directly to me. So we've expanded our vetting process, especially for those organizations that are with registered agents. Basically, we get all the information, they have to get on a Zoom, they have to show government photo ID. Also, the people that are going to sign, whoever's signing the RSA, we got to validate that they actually are officer or principal of that organization. They have to get on a Zoom with us and show their government photo ID. And usually, before, it was very difficult to even know who these people were, but now that we're doing this, probably I'd say 70% of the people, they just go away. They will not get on a Zoom with us, so they go away. So that in itself is a big help to knowing who we're actually interacting with. So our org create procedures, I went through a lot of this. We actually flag the ones that require additional validation. That's the registered agents. We do video verification with that. And also for whoever the POC is and whoever that's going to sign the RSA, which is the Registration Services Agreement. And you can read more about that at that blog that's mentioned there. Another thing, so Section 12, the Number Resource Policy Manual, Section 12, covers audits and reviews by ARIN of any of our customers. So we can at any time, ARIN can at any time reach out to a customer and say, we're conducting an audit on your resources and what you're using them for, and just to validate that you're still within your registration services agreement and within policy. We don't need to have a reason to do that. We can do that to anybody, but we really don't just reach out and audit people. Usually we're getting reports from the community, from other people that we have caught going around policy. It's amazing. We catch them going around policy. We get them on a Zoom. They say, oh, yes, we did it. We lied. And oh, these 6 friends of mine over here, they put me up to it and they're all doing it and I want to turn them all in. It's really amazes me how easy they roll on their friends, but they do. So, word to the wise, if you have friends out there and you're thinking of doing something nefarious, don't let them know about it. So again, with the Section 12s, basically we open a ticket with them. We tell them we're auditing their resources for adherence to the agreement and policy. We get them on a Zoom. We read them all, read through everything that is required, all the documentation. Of course, it starts with validation of who they are, so we know who we're working with. And then we give the customer, if they are not in compliance, they get a timeline for addressing the violations. Number Resource Policy Manual Section 4.10 abuse. Section 4.10 is, of course, the policy that allows you to get a /24 or more, depending on the circumstances and justification, that helps with deploying IPv6. It's really highly abused because the first 24 you come in and ask ARIN for that is pretty much a give me. Because if you have IPv6 and you say, yeah, I need a /24, I'm going to dual stack a name server and some other critical infrastructure, you'll get a /24. However, if you try to come back and get another 24, you have to have 80% of that first one used for CGN or some other kind of transition to V6 technology. It's really what we find is it gets a lot of abuse. It gets moved out of the region. It gets announced. There was a leasing platform that ended up with about 50 of those /24s on it. As soon as we let them know that, they of course removed it all, and we reclaimed a lot of that space. Threat statistics. So this is what the team has done in its first quarter. They've completed 62, 58 which were successful of org creates, and they have 27 in progress. So the org create is the one where we've added the vetting information. The 410 fraud and abuse cases, they've completed 23 of those with 7 in progress, and there's 286 of them pending review. So that's 286 /24s that we have either had reported to us as being used in contradiction to the policy, or they're just, we see them being announced over outside of the region, or we see them announced by somebody other than the organization that's the direct resource holder. And then we've had 12 Section 12s completed in the first quarter, with 6 in progress and 14 pending review. This time, when I was doing this by myself, pretty much I was doing 1 Section 12 a quarter because it's all I could do. So we had a bunch of backlog when these guys took over, the riot team. So we're exercising increased vigilance, as you can tell by all the things that I've gone through. We have a watch list. We don't have a whole lot of tools, but Mark and his team, his development team, are helping us develop some, and we're going to be looking even deeper and harder at these violations as they pop up. Again, we're committed to strengthening trusted security on the internet and doing what the ARIN community expects of us as far as enforcing policy and integrity and accuracy of the registry. So if you need some more information, you can always get a hold of the Registration Services Desk, Monday through Friday, 7 to 7. They also have a chat. You can always find me. Everybody has my phone number, I think, in the world, because I get a lot of calls. You're not going to find us here at Nanox 94 any longer, because we're out of here after this. We didn't know when I was giving this presentation, so sorry about that. And there you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Any questions? Maybe we can take one.
Sure.
Please remember to introduce yourself and ask your question.
Hello? Nope. Hey, I'm Brian Fields. I'm just curious, from what you just described there, misrepresenting yourself, all that stuff, cross state lines, like, isn't that just fraud, like criminal fraud that you just described there? Is that getting like referred for prosecution or something, or?
Yeah, and one of the bullets I didn't really highlight is we work very closely with law enforcement.
Okay.
There is one specific case that most people know about. He may still be in prison. I don't know. He may be getting out soon, but the Amir Golistan and the Mike Foe case where he committed interstate fraud, wire fraud.
Yep, thanks.
Hey, John. Caitlin Pellick with Amazon Web Services. So I know you mentioned under the 4.10 space that you've been investigating and you've been receiving reports as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 4.10 space all comes from the same like parent range. Is that right? So
Correct. It's a reserve /10 of space.
Okay. So I guess an enterprising person who is curious about investigating fraud could potentially look up those IP addresses and check them for fraud themselves?
Yeah, and that's we do have some practicing detectives out there that want to ingratiate them to us, so they, we don't look too hard at them, I think. But yeah, it's very easy, and that's how we can see it easy. Mm-hmm. It's like 23 dot, and I think it starts at 192 to 56. I don't know exactly, but off my head, but yeah, you can definitely identify that space.
It might be good for the community to know what specific CIDRs to keep an eye out for, because then we could help you hopefully identify some of that fraud.
Yep, that's something that'll be added to. We're just developing this team. Before I just want, I was trying to do all this out of band, and this team is now really ramping up and really taking it serious. So
awesome. Well, we're glad to hear it. It's definitely well needed. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, we'll do one last question. Do we have anything from the folks online? Okay, we'll just take one last question so we can keep things moving.
Hi, quick question. If we suspect fraud, what's a good way to get in contact with your riot team?
To get in contact with the riot team, best way is just to call you can call the help desk and ask for them. You can open an Ask ARIN ticket, or you can do a chat.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
One last one from online.
There is one very quick question from online. This is from Mahesh Parmar. They ask, can individuals, parentheses home lab, get the IPv4 or IPv6 address from ARIN?
So I think he's probably referring to the new policy that's out there, 2025-4, which is issuing to natural persons. ARIN's not sure. We're not sure why the community sees it as a problem, because we give a lot of space to sole proprietors. They just have to be recognized as sole proprietors in whatever legal jurisdiction they're in, whatever state they're in. It can be a DBA, a fictitious name, a sole proprietorship, whatever. In most states, it's a $25 to $50 fee to register a DBA.
All right. Thank you very much, John. That was great.